This is lesson 82 for 5th grade. We're looking at greatest common factor today. What is the greatest common factor? Greatest common factor is the largest whole number that is a factor of both numbers. So greatest common factor, we abbreviate it GCF. So we'll see it as GCF when we look at different things. Okay, if we look at the numbers that we have on the screen there, we have 12 and 18. And with 12 and 18, I wrote out their factors. 1 and 12, 2 and 6, 3 times 4. They all get me to 12. For 18, I have 1 times 18, 2 times 9, 3 times 6. Once I have all their factors written, what I want to do is look for the one that's in common in both of those numbers, and that is the largest number. They have 1, 2, 3, and 6 in common. So let's go ahead and let me get that circled here. Hold on, we'll go and get our pen out. Okay, so we have 6 and we have the other 6. Okay, so 6 is their greatest common factor. They have these other common factors, but 6 is their greatest. So we would consider it 6 is the greatest common factor. Okay, when we look at this question, it says use the greatest common factor of 8 and 20 to reduce 8/20ths. So I wrote out the factors of 8 being 1, 2, 4, and 8. 1 times 8 is 8, 2 times 4 is 8, and then the factors of 20. 1 times 20 is 20, 2 times 10 is 20, 4 times 5 is 20. And when I look at the numbers, the one they have in common is the 4. And so what we did down here is we took our 8/20ths and we divided it by 4/4. Remember, that is what we were talking about in our lesson before, is that we can take the same number over itself because it's the same as 1. So 4/4 is the same as 1. So we have 8 divided by 4 is 2, 20 divided by 4 is 5, and to reduce it with the greatest common factor, 8/20ths would become 2/5. And we can probably visualize 2/5 a lot better than we can 8/20ths. Okay, but the big thing is we're going to have to know our factors, our multiplication facts for different numbers. Okay, so start with 1, go through till halfway, because if you get to halfway, then you know that you are, like for 8, I would go to 4, because at that point, I know that I'm going, I'd just be having a match with one that's halfway. I mean, it's hard to say this, but that's basically, if you go halfway up, you'll come to all the factors that they would have. Okay. And here we're going to reduce using the greatest common factor. So we have 6/9, and we look at the 6, and I want to think of my factors. Now, you don't have to have them in order at first, but I would write them in order afterwards. So here I have 1 and 6. I have 2 and 3. Why did they write them in order? Because it's easier to find the largest number. So those are my factors for 6. For 9, I have 1 and 9, and I have 3 and 3. I don't need to write 3 twice when I write my factors down. I just write 1, 3, and 9. Should probably put those commas in there. Okay, now I look at our numbers, and our largest factor here is 3. So we're going to take that 6 and that 9, and we're going to divide it by 3. 9 divided by 3 gives me 3. 6 divided by 3 gives me 2. Okay, so 2/3 would be the same as 6/9. Now on the 15 and 100, I know that there's 1 and 15, and I know that there's 3 and 5. So we write those out. Okay, and then we do the 100. I know there's 1 and 100. I know there's 2 and 50. I know there's 4 and 25. Oh, and I need even more space. And I know there's 5. And there is, sorry about that, 5 and 20. I was fixing my board. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 4, 5, 20, 25, 50, and 100. When I look at 15, I can see that the highest number that's in common here then is 5. So I would divide both of these by 5. And when I divide them by 5, 15 divided by 5 is 3. And 100 divided by 5, then we get 20. So 3/20ths would be the same as 15/100ths. Okay. Like I said, go through, if you're not sure about your multiplication facts, you can kind of use your chart a little bit if you need to, but just keep those, start at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and go on up and see if you can find that common factor. Okay, that is greatest common factor. All right, just like I said, we're going to use that to reduce fractions. So we want to make sure that we understand our numbers there. And that's your lesson 82. And on your homework sheet, if you have any questions about that, make sure you give me a text, a call, a email, whatever, to ask it. Okay. I hope you guys are having a great day, and we will see you later.